And we are live, everybody. Welcome to the WMMA Today podcast with Drake and normally Steve. But again, we have a one-man show for you tonight. Steve has some personal matters to take care of, so we will see him back next week. So tonight, it is just you guys and myself here in the new studio that I'm working on. And as you can see, still got to fix that gosh darn Wi-Fi, but we are here. We are ready to go. So relying on you guys to help with the co-host duties as you generally are every week anyway. So greatly appreciate it. How are we doing, everybody? We have quite a schedule of lineup here today. 3 events that we had this past weekend. Plenty of news. Mailbag, of course. Maybe a new segment. I said the news already. And then we got fights this weekend. So pretty loaded. A lot of fight news, all that good stuff. But as we kick off, here comes everything rolling in. Kevin Shajan, good to see you. Let's go, he says. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Ghost Phantom, hello, sir. Drake, how excited are you to test out your new goodies? Well, to be honest, man, most of this stuff isn't really new. It's just the setting, the layout that I got. So, I mean, I guess I'm using the tall desk right now. I'm standing. I got my monitor down here where you can see I'm looking this way with my old camera, old webcam, and I'm using my normal camera, which I use for live event coverage and stuff right now. So it's just kind of utilizing more stuff, not too new room and all that stuff, but it feels good so far. I mean, we're just getting started here, but we'll see how it goes. Jimmy, good to see you. Rue, hey, the best WMA podcast and experts, and Steve and Drake. Yes, of course, always. And Steve still counts, even though he's not here. He's here in thoughts. So James, good to see you. Not much, man. Alex, my man, thank you so much. Working on it. Sammy, if you missed it off the top, Steve has some personal matters to attend to today, so he is gonna miss it. But Jin, good to see you as well. And a new segment, not really, maybe a little bit of a surprise for somebody, but you'll see. We'll get to it. It's a reoccurring thing, but no spoilers. We'll get to it. So, anyways, you guys, enough intro. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's get rolling. We have plenty to get into, as I said. So we'll start off with the first event that took place this past weekend. One Battleground from Singapore, one championship returned, quite a bang. And it appears that I have frozen. So off to a great start. Give me a second here to adjust. So gotta love that. This is the laptop camera, much worse. And there we go. Don't know why that happened. Happened earlier, but here we are. So anyway, one Battleground kicked things off with Ritu Foget taking out Lynn Hatchin via unanimous decision. Didn't quite see it going this way. If you guys watched last week and, we did our preview for it, this was pretty much vintage Ritu. Did not show any of those problems that we really saw in that B win fight. And of course, that B win fight was kind of a weird one and continually freezing here, as you can see there again. So hopefully this doesn't happen a whole lot tonight, but I'll continue to work through it. Either way, Ritu went in there, did her thing, looked great against Lynn. Out wrestled her, right? It was just a wrestling domination for the most part. Once Lynn was down, couldn't quite get back up. That was pretty much the story of it. She looked fine on the feet while it was there, but aside from that, Ritu looked fine on the feet too. Of course, not significantly better or anything, but it was impressive for her to do that, I think, against somebody of Lynn's experience in mixed martial arts and snapping that winning streak. So pretty big bummer for her, and she was out for a while, as you guys surely know, 2-year layoff or so. But yeah, Ritu back at the win column makes everybody Wish that they didn't do that B-win fight or that the judges would have went the other way, which, of course, that argument is still out there. So, yeah. But all right, let's check the comments here. Henderson Grunger, good to see you. Drake, just read your Zhang Weili article. Why is it so hard for her to accept defeat, and using Weidman's injury as an excuse is a new low? Well, you're clever. You are clever, sir. I'm gonna assume this is the reoccurring person. You're masking it very well. Thank you for reading the article. Appreciate that. But if you read that article entirely, I don't think she's accepted it. She said it was hard at first. She got knocked out in a matter of seconds, really, a little over a minute, in front of a big audience, lost her title. Well, that's a difficult thing to accept, surely. And only she knows that, but she's handling it very well, in my opinion, Henderson, if that is your real name. All right, moving on. All right, Ghost Phantom here says he told Steve that if Lynn could get up quickly, it could gas out Ritu. That you did. That you did, sir. But yeah, she just wasn't capable of doing that, So, of course, plenty for Lynn to work on and get back in there. Hopefully, she can stay more active now after such a loss like that, and great learning experience for her, and for Ritu, for both of them. I think they'll both get better going forward. But yeah, bummed for Lynn, says Sammy. I know, she's such a sweetheart and a fun fighter, but that was kind of a fight I think we needed to see stylistically for her. So as I said, yeah, I think it'll help going forward. Kevin says Indian MMA is okay with the rise of Arjun and Ritu. Definitely got yourselves a champ there. And yeah, Ritu is on her way. Seemed like a little bit of a speedy push there, but it's working out now. She beat someone like Lynn, which is no joke. So Alvin, good to see you, sir. I'm not going to take Steve's thunder with how he says your name, but great to see you as always. Thanks for tuning in. And yes, we'll get around to that, Kevin. Busy man. So thanks for pointing it out, though, reminding me. But yes, no problem, Jimmy. Don't worry about it, man. They're clever. They're getting clever, aren't they? Or this, you know what? Too much time. Not going to go into it. You guys can take care of it. Those of you who know, So try and have a good time here. But James says, it's crazy that Lynn trained with Zhang. You can see the resemblance in striking, but completely different on the ground. Yeah, no doubt about that. It's just one of those things, right, where I think over in China and, it's been kind of running, not a joke, but topic where people say wrestling in particular in Asia has been a weaker art. Like I remember there was always that sentiment about the Brits as well. And I remember people made fun of Bisping for that kind of thing, even though Bisping's takedown defense was rather good for most of his career. A great spring, would get up very quickly and all that kind of thing. But in China, yeah, obviously still the majority of them, I think that's something that hasn't quite integrated into their system traditionally, right? They got Sanda and all the other things that they work on, but is what it is. So again, hope to see Lynn come back sooner rather than later, not take so much time away. And when I spoke to her, that's what it sounded like she wants to do. And so now she'll have to do it in a rebound attempt. But Ritu moves on, and for a fact that she will be an alternate in case anything happens in the tournament, which we will get to. Thankfully we'll get to that. So what do we got here? Ghost says, yeah, I agree with James. Zhang does a lot of different things in wrestling. That she does. Very well rounded. Kevin with the off-topic question, but we appreciate it, man. As I said, we are. I need my co-host today, so bring it on, you guys. Appreciate it. He says, should one championship engage trade discussion with UFC for Stipe like they did with DJ? They could. Should they? I mean, it's like, why not, right? It doesn't hurt to try. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything they could give the UFC right now would that they would want enough for Stipe. You know what I mean? Um, but it's like it wouldn't hurt to try. Sure, Stipe would absolutely own one championship with complete ease. No offense to Arjun Buller, the new champion, right there, but it's just I think that's just there's not much in that one championship heavyweight division except for a lot of money for Stipe. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, similar-ish situation indeed. So I don't think that's going anywhere. If it does, I'd be surprised. But yeah, the heavyweight across the board in MMA is just ridiculous with some of how it works, obviously, in the UFC, especially. So, all right, continuing on with one Battleground, you guys. Kicking off the night, my goodness. Victoria Lee defeats Wang Luping via first round submission, rear naked choke at 322. My God, it's been a horrible year for China, hasn't it? It has just been a rough one. Oof. Yeah. So here's this picture here, which obviously you can't really tell who's who, but if you saw the fight, you know who's who. And I had to use this picture because that slam that Victoria hit on Wang was something. Some high, what's the word I'm looking for? Not volume, high amplitude kind of slam, if that works. But yeah, Victoria Lee absolutely flawless in this fight. Wang didn't stand a goddamn chance, which didn't expect that either if you watched last week's episode. And she is a very, very talented individual. Unsurprisingly, that is the Lee family for you. The Lee family dynasty. Boy, there's not really much to say about this because Victoria Lee was a hot knife through butter, took her down, beat her up. I'm honestly surprised that it didn't end quicker than it did because there were some serious moments there where she was looking like the armbar was maybe there, but pure and utter domination. This was this looked like the fight should not even have been made, but on paper it was fine. As Steve and I said, it was a tough one to pick if you were familiar with Wang. And of course, Victoria, we're only going off of one fight and what we've heard about her for the most part, because she's still so young and new to MMA, especially professionally. So yeah, she's incredible so far. This is one hell of a start to an MMA career. Couldn't quite ask for it to go any better than that. So congratulations to her. Makoto, good to see you, sir. He chimes in saying, if you watch Whaley's new reality show, Teaching MMA with the Leech, Li Jingliang, shout out to him. The first thing she was teaching her students was a double leg takedown. So kind of strange that Lynn isn't as well versed as Whaley. I mean, everyone's different, right? And what they want to hone in on, everyone's going to choose and have preferences and that kind of thing. Maybe believe that they should work on one art rather than blending them all together at the same time. Maybe that's how it was with Lynn compared to Whaley. But yeah, I mean, clearly, you guys don't need me to tell you this, but Whaley is a pretty unique and rare individual. A bit of, I dare say, one of a kind. I mean, you look at her record, what she was able to do. I mean, hard to disagree, in my opinion. So we will see what comes of it, as mentioned. But Jimmy here throwing in, Wang also hit a head and arm throw, but Victoria got up right away. Yes, that is right. That happened very early on in the fight. I mean, this fight wasn't super long, but yeah, she did. That was her only success. That was definitely her only success, Jimmy. I didn't quite fear for Victoria in that moment, but it was definitely not what she wanted to happen. So, and then she got right up and it went into this slam, right? So if I'm remembering correctly, that's exactly how that all played out. And from there, it was disaster. Kevin asking, how should One Championship approach Lee's marketing, promotion, and fighter path as she grows? That's tough, man. I do think that's very tough. It's a very tricky thing when you have a fighter that is this young and showing this much talent, and her sister's the champion of the division. These are all recipes for head scratching building, right? And where to take her career, essentially. But if you listen to her, it sounds like she is just solely focused on getting experience. And I think that is the right move to make for her. Just fight anybody and everybody as often as you can. She is not going to fight her sister. I think she'd probably take a title fight if, let's say, Angela loses to Sohiham or somebody that was probably going to win that tournament. And let's say she doesn't beat the tournament winner, right? And by that time, let's say Victoria is, in theory, ready for a title shot. I guess she could make it. Take it. But not going to fight her sister. Isn't even thinking about that kind of thing, which is a good thing to see when she is so young, like I said. But it's also interesting, Kevin, when you look at how they marketed this fight in comparison to her debut. Little to no buzz and promotion for this second fight. The debut made a big deal out of that, which was totally fair, but kind of surprising that they went so quiet on this one. And maybe it was because of the weirdness with the schedule coming back and the fact that maybe they believed Lu Ping could have pulled it off, as some of us may have thought. But very odd, man. It's hard to tell how they're going to continue on with this. But like I said, just continue to give Victoria opponents. Doesn't matter who. You don't want to rush her. You don't want to give her somebody like, let's say Mangbo, for example. First person that popped into my head, but it's who knows, she could still very well hang with those fighters. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one, but looking forward to seeing her career continue. Alvin, yeah, Mr. Riggs, do you think Victoria will keep improving her ground game? She's only a purple belt. Absolutely, man. Pretty much, touched on that for the most part right there. But she's only 17. Just turned 17 a couple months, maybe a month ago, but freshly 17 years old. We've seen that everyone in the Lee family progresses at a very rapid pace, and she is showing to be no exception. Yeah, it's horrifying to think that she is Alvin. She is only going to get better. Pure domination. I suspect nothing less. For now, gonna take it slow, hopefully, but James says, I've also seen her show on TikTok. Yeah, the first thing she was teaching was wrestling, in reference to the Whaley comments from earlier. Kevin agrees. Jimmy, Victoria is also a state champion in wrestling, so she has a very good base. Yeah, she has done a lot of shit, man, in terms of grappling and amateur experience before pros. It's pretty nuts. She's got the pancreation. She's in a very good spot right now to continue doing. All these Lees are crazy. All 25 and under, as I was corrected last week. Angela Lee is 25 right now. And there's the man himself, Steve, chiming in, giving us a little bit of his opinion, like I did that one time that I missed. He says, Victoria Lee to the moon, rocket emoji. Wait, can we not use rockets? Can we not use emojis in the chat, you guys? I'm pretty sure we can. Come on, Steve, you're better than that. I know you got the emojis on hand. Ridiculous. Ashamed of you. Jin says, do you think Victoria will fight again next month? Maybe. I think it would be a good idea, or it'd be cool to put her on Empower, which again we'll get to. But I don't know. She took practically no damage in this fight, so she could, I think. But of course, with the amount of travel, I suppose, going from Hawaii to Singapore, that could maybe make it less likely, but it's possible. Again, just have to find the right opponent, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet on that, but could happen. We're in August now, September. We'll see. James says Victoria's only 16 and she is still growing both physically and mentally. 100%. Wouldn't be surprised if she ends up at flyweight at some point in her career. Very, very likely, as we saw with Paige Van Zandt when she was growing up in the UFC, pretty much. strawweight was just too much for her at a point. And that's just what happens. Still growing up. So James says it. So if a former champ whose specialty is striking thinks wrestling is important for MMA, then it's important. I think that is in reference to the way the comments earlier, potentially. Ghost says she fights differently from Angela too. A lot of different setups, 100%. And she is incredibly aggressive. Maybe more so than Angela. Angela's very aggressive herself, but Victoria is a ball of fire. So good to see you, Mr. Beckham. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for tuning in as always. Alvin says he loves seeing the development of young fighters like Victoria. Yeah, man. Very impressive stuff. And unique to see, no matter how many times we see it. Saint Wing, good to see you as well. Very impressed with Victoria's debut, he says. Or you mean this fight? I know what you mean. And then, of course, the debut is impressive too, man. They were both impressive. She is looking very good. 2 fights into her career. Victoria Lee, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what is next for her. Maybe next month, as just suggested right there. But until then, we won't speculate, even though we like to do that kind of thing. All right, moving along. 20 minutes on one championship and what have you. This is great. Great pace, you guys. Thank you for helping with those co-host duties, as I mentioned. We are rolling along. We got UFC Vegas next on deck. In terms of the recaps, UFC Vegas 33, 2 fights, was supposed to be 3 fights, unfortunately. Oh my God. All I'll say on it, you guys, is Nico Montano. I don't even think it's up for debate. Most unique, take that word however you will, most unique UFC career of all time. I don't even think it's close. Not even up for debate. So don't debate me in the comments right now, but my God, it does not. It's a bummer. It's incredible. What a saga. And she actually followed me that last week, so I'm going to see if I can maybe talk to her, get in those DMs. But either way, just what a story in the worst way possible, unfortunately. So moving on to the fights that did happen at strawweight. We had the former atomweight champion of Invicta, Miss Jin Yu Fry, pulled off the win. Ashley Yoder, 30 27s across the board. This was awesome to watch. This was amazing, especially if you guys, for anyone who has followed Jin's career, I think that you will have absolutely loved this. And especially, I mean, last week we were not very confident in Jin winning, and we actually picked her to lose. So, as I think most might have, and I don't she was the underdog, right? I don't remember. A lot happens from show to show, you guys. But either way, Jin Yu Fry turned back the clock. That looked like the atomweight champ of the world in there, fighting a strawweight, of course. Phenomenal performance. Her strikes were crisp, as they generally are, but had some power on them. Had Ashley hurt at multiple points. Defended takedowns beautifully. Ashley didn't set him up very well at all, so that definitely helps. But this was a phenomenal performance from Jin. With the only, bad mark taste from it, I guess, would be when she got clipped by the 1-2 at the end of the second round, like 3 times in a row. That was about it, though. Commentary was very bad in this fight. They said it was a lot closer. They said it was very close when I did not feel that way. And if you look at the numbers, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess the numbers aren't lying, but in terms of who was being more impactful and damaging, it was absolutely Jin. I thought this was maybe the best. I don't want to say maybe the best she's ever looked, but it was definitely the best that she's looked in a long time since she was champion. I was thinking maybe since the second Grusander fight, the rematch. But then some people don't even think she won that fight. I don't think she won the first fight. Both controversial decisions, no matter who you ask. So I guess by default, it would have to be this one, right? Either way, it has been years since I think Jin has looked this good. And of course, not the highest quality of opponent, but all things considered, this stage in her career, up a weight, very impressive. Did not expect this at all. And if you just continue down with the numbers here, very crazy that she actually did not outstrike Ashley at all. That's very weird. Just more volume with less damage. So goes to show you proper scoring. You love to see it, especially after a shit week last week with the other fights that will not be named. So very, very good stuff from Jen. Cannot help but feel good for her, especially at this stage in her career. As I said, Ashley, that's a tough one. Might be the end of the road for her in this division where it is overflowing with talent, bodies, you name it. So very, very impressive stuff. Congratulations to Jen. And checking on the comments now. Here we go. Going back to the Nico stuff. Ghost says he sort of called this last week during doing a weight cut and almost dying. You kind of did. Yeah, very, very much so. Man, it's crazy. 7 pounds. I cannot believe it. I really could not believe it. I have no words. Sad state for Steve. 100% understandable. Kevin, most unique former champ. That's what makes it so unique. Most unique fighter overall. Give me a more unique one in terms of how their career went. Of course, there's more unique fighters in terms of personality and what have you, but how their career went and has gone, I don't think you can top Nico. It's just insane. Kevin says, Ashley Yoder's striking repertoire is unique. Keep going with that word. See, it's got versatility. You love it. But yeah, it was a little odd in that one because like when she committed with those 1-2s at the end of the second round, it worked. Everything else, though, not so much. She landed, according to the numbers, clearly, but not significantly. And yeah, I know there's significant strikes right there, but we don't look at those, man. Those are a bunch of bullshit. That's my opinion, of course, but we're not going to get into that. So, Ghost Phantom says, this was disappointing for me, Drake. Both fighters didn't build off techniques. It's like they just wanted to see what strikes worked instead of building a foundation. Very true. Very true. No, I mean, no need to be sorry. He says, sorry, Drake. I know you were high on Jin. I mean, I've actually never been too high on Jin, really. It's just that I love to see fighters who have a story and built up a solid career outside the UFC, then go into it and do good because people write them off so much. That's pretty much my thing with Jin. I've talked to her before. She's very kind and soft-spoken, that kind of thing. I've nothing wrong with her. It was a little bit weird after that Crusader fight. If you guys were around that time and remember some of the comments that came out, it was a little odd, mostly from her husband. But other than that, she's not. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of hers necessarily. I'm a fan of stories like hers, though, so that's more the thing. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from with the disappointment there, Ghost, but she still looked better than she has in a while, so take that for what you will, sir. Yeah, is what it is. 2-2, 1-2, says Kevin. James, what do you think happened to Jin for her to go up and down like that in the UFC? Honestly, man, I think that this run of hers, which again, I should mention this is the first winning streak she's been on since those controversial Mina Grusander wins. So, she could, it's been a while since she's been able to build momentum like this. 2 clear back-to-back victories. Did not think that we would see it, especially at this point. So, I think that she just has gotten comfortable at strawweight. She had not fought at strawweight. I think it was her overall career debut with the first UFC fight. And now since then, these last 2 fights, she's looking pretty solid. And of course, against 2 different types of competition and not the best in the division, of course, but for her to look as good as she has in different ways, I think it's just getting comfortable with the weight difference and, letting her body be happy and healthy, because it was getting to be a struggle towards the end there because of injuries and whatnot. And Jin says Yoder might get cut. Yep. As I alluded to, would not be surprised by that. James says, if the UFC started an atomweight division, the champ would be Hamasaki, not Jin. Hamasaki is the female DJ. 100% agree with you, sir. Yeah, no, Hamasaki is the GOAT. No one is beating her anytime soon, even though Kana did give her a much better fight and closer fight than anticipated. Kana is also a phenom, but Asakura, that is, you guys. Before we get crazy, go off if you must. But yeah, no, Hamasaki, if they did a division, James, there'd be a paper champ if Hamasaki was not included, which I doubt she would be at this point. So Kevin says Lorosenko would come back potentially. I doubt that. as fun and cool as that would be, and I know she has spoke about it. Nah, I don't think so. She is doing just fine in her current roles, but you never know. Maybe we could see a one-off. But either way, not betting on atomweight anytime soon either. So, oh, Ghost Phantom, a little bit of foreshadowing there. And Steve can't wait to talk about the next fight. So we'll get to that. Alvin says, I feel very happy for Miss Fry. Great win after going through adversity in the UFC. Exactly, man. It's the story for me, Ghost. Going back to that. So just kind of cool to see that. I mean, she lost 3 in a row, didn't she? It was 2 or 3. But either way, was surprised that she, has gotten the opportunities still to continue. So, but making it work. Hold on, got a message here. We're going to continue on. Mr. Lee, good to see you. He says he honestly couldn't tell who won the Fry versus Yoder fight. It was a very pleasant fight. Yeah, it was very good, but interesting that you thought it was that close. Did not feel that way, but hey, we're all opinions are welcome. So we'll see what is next for Fry. And you guys know what I want. I want that Jessica Penne fight. Former atomweight champs going at it. Even if Jessica loses this weekend, which we'll get into. But yeah, that is what I want right now. More than anything for those two. So apologies, have some messages coming in. All right. So as we move on, that leads into what Steve was prefacing. And I know that you guys, I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this. I know what Ghost thought a little bit. We briefly went back and forth the DMs about it, just a little comments, sort of. But yeah, Cheyenne Buys defeated Gloria DePaula via first round TKO, head kick and punches exactly at the minute mark. How about that? Didn't see that coming. Really not much to say about this fight because it was so short. Pretty much terrible fight IQ from DePaula. Cost her consciousness. That was it, as you can tell in that picture, and as you surely saw the fight. As I said, it wasn't that long. She went to get up, left her face completely exposed, and ate a foot for it. So beforehand, very minimal trading on the feet. Wouldn't really say anybody got the better of the other, but Cheyenne capitalized on a perfect and, dare say, given window to her. And got herself a bonus. And if there's one thing I will say about this, awful refereeing from Mark Smith, who should have stopped it right after the head kick. And DePaula was clearly out of it. Yet he allowed her to eat several more punches, undefended. Did not quite like that. Thought that was very unnecessary. So, rough one for GDP, you guys. But Jimmy says, so I'm guessing they will not be cutting bays anytime soon. Next PVZ, all bark and no bite. Well, I mean, despite the fact that the knockout might have been given a little bit in terms of poor fight IQ from the opponent and what have you, I mean, there's some bite there when you get a knockout. A head kick and it is what it is, right? You see it, it's there. But either way, no, she's not getting cut. Not after winning. I mean, who knows how things go from here? Still a very tough division for her, undeniably. And I think the UFC, the fact that she won this in the co-main event, the odd co-main event, certainly helps her longevity. And she has a personality that is a personality. I guess I'll put it that way. I don't have anything against Baze like you guys do necessarily, but of course, I don't think the spotlight is quite earned just yet. But yeah. James says he didn't even watch this one. No one cares about this, whatever the result. Don't lie, man. You would have cared if DePaula would have went out there and wrecked her. So nice try. But there's Jin says Cheyenne Baze was fighting this week. I didn't know. Centro Wing, who is Cheyenne Baze? Oh, this is exactly the kind of comments I had hoped for. Ghost Phantom says lack of fundamentals from DePaula, as he mentioned to me. Yep, that is completely accurate. Yeah, just a mental lapse of sorts. Not a good move. Not a good move. Kevin says Drake watch weighing in for Big John explanation of Mark Smith mentality. Okay, that's good that he did talk about this, because Big John, of course, he is. You have to listen to that guy. He's the all-seeing eye, the referee of referees, the walking human rule book. I will take his word for it if he had a good reasoning for this. And I don't think it was the worst or latest stoppage ever, but I think, that letting it go on after that wasn't great. But I'll definitely, I'm curious to hear about that now from Big John. So Roos says, how awesome was Bellator 263? It was exactly that, and we will get into that here in a moment, sir. Fantastic event indeed. Mr. Lee says, DePaula put her head on a tee and gift wrapped the victory for Baze. Yep. That is exactly how that went. Yeah. Rain, what's up, Drake? Oh, we were talking about Baze. I'm changing the channel shortly. Oh, no, don't go. We're almost done. James says, can we hurry up? Alvin says, why is the chat being so rude toward Miss Baze? They're not fans, Alvin. They have never been fans for many reasons. But anyway, we'll move on. Guys. Because again, like I said, there's not much to talk about with that anyways. Not much to it. So we'll move on. It's about all there is there. But I do want to ask you guys, if you did or didn't watch it, which I know you did, and you're just being funny, who should she fight next, right? Who should they match her up with? You want to throw it to Kanako? We could do that. I wouldn't hate that one, just from a Kanako standpoint. Not the fight to make, but hey, many dangerous options for her going forward. So we'll see how much the push escalates from now. Jimmy likes it. Would be a bloodbath in favor of who, but I don't know. We'll see what happens there. As for DePaula, I still think there's good potential. That was just a poor example of fight IQ. So moving on, Bellator 263, as mentioned by Rue right there. What an event. What an event. That's all you can say. It was something. It's capped off by absolute brilliance from one AJ McKee. But before that, we saw the one and only Vanessa Porto, one of the flyweight goats. She got the job done, defeating Ilara Joanne via split decision, 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28 again. Excuse me. Here we have the screen grab, the image from the iconic Esther Lynn. Got to give her credit for this fantastic shot that she took. Had plenty, as she always does. She was back for an MMA event after, making the departure all the way back on episode 1, you guys. If you go back to episode 1, we talked about the news of her leaving MMA fighting on that episode 60 weeks ago. So here we are. What a ride it's been. Great to see Esther taking some pictures again. But yeah, Vanessa Porto gets her first win in Bellator. Love to see that, but unfortunately, I don't agree with it. I have to be honest. You guys could see my scores always on MMADecisions.com. But yeah, I thought that this one was the first 2 rounds, 10-9s to Joanne, which was very surprising. Obviously, if you guys, I mean, I don't think anyone could have expected her to look as good as she did out there. It was just really a lot quicker than Porto, was beating her to the punch. Didn't really have her in any serious trouble, but my goodness, she really corrected some things from the Kana loss. There we go. Hit the button. Go Kana right there. And yeah, that third round struggled again as Porto showed that veteran savvy. And as we've kind of seen before, I was thinking about it, going into the third, we've seen her down 2 before. You remember that Milana Dudaeva fight in Invicta? She was on her way to losing, pulled off the comeback with that body shot. And in this one, almost got a last-second rear naked choke. That was an awesome sequence. This fight was very fun. Was happening at the same time as Witt and Barberena on the UFC. So 2 bits of madness there. But yeah, it's I hate to say that I didn't agree with this score and Vanessa getting the win, but I, of course, am incredibly happy for her to say that she has gotten a win now in the biggest stage that she's ever been on. So both of these women should undeniably be ranked above the bottom 3 of Bellator's top 10 flyweight division. Can't convince me otherwise. Matching them against any of those 3 at this point, I don't think would go well for those 3. It's just it's a wild thing how those rankings are, aren't they? But this was a fun one, and yeah. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. Jimmy says, yes, what an event. Mr. Lee says the twins fought each other at Bellator. Are these 2 the twins, or am I missing something on that one? Oh my, Steve giving me some news there, which we'll talk about there in a moment. Kevin says, good matchup here. Oh, he's talking about that breaking news here on the show, but let's continue on with this for a second. You guys can't stop the train exactly. Sammy says, why did Esther Lynn leave? She's super talented. You can go back and watch the first episode, man. We talked all about it, but during the pandemic, that was a big thing. She wasn't able to go out and shoot. She was doing a lot of social media stuff for MMA fighting, and the trolls are very bad. So just kind of accumulation of things got to her, and she's still been filming, shooting, boxing in the meantime, but kind of a combination of things went into that. Go says Kana Army was rating her live chat. Shout out to those that joined. Yes, that did happen. That definitely did happen. He showed me the screenshots. I wonder if she noticed. I didn't get to hop in myself, Ghost, but thanks for sharing that. Kana Boy's back in town, says Jimmy. And Kana I stand, says Rue. Kana Watanabe flag waved. Makoto. Kana all day. Yes. Kevin says, oh, damn, I was there live to watch the Kana TKO. That... You mean her getting TKO'd or her doing the TKO? You need to clarify, buddy. But yeah, either way. So to the breaking news now. Steve letting us know Alexa Grasso versus Joanne Calderwood November 10th. I like it. What, that's 3 months, 4? That's a ways away. November 10th. Yikes. That's one of those things one of those announcements where you're like, ooh, that fight is a good one, but it's a ways away. So I'm fine with that. I think that is a perfect step for Grasso. I would have liked, I was thinking maybe like Chukagian or somebody up there. So JoJo, that is fine with me. Very fun stylistic fight. Makes sense for Grasso after what she's been able to do so far. And for JoJo, yeah, she's in a bit of a weird spot now after, having lost to Lauren, and if she can work her way to that ever elusive title shot remains to be seen. But Not mad at that one. Not mad at that one at all. So, all right. We will carry on. Kevin says the Liz TKO. Yep. Very shocking. I don't think anyone ever could have expected that, at least that quickly, or on the feet. I mean, who am I kidding? So, all right, you guys. That was Bellator 263, excuse me, the one and only fight that we had on that event. Vanessa Porto laying it down for the OGs of the sport, the pioneer herself. Regardless of what you thought, she won. She literally won, right? So, is what it is. Hope to catch up with her again soon. Talk to her about it since she didn't get a post-fight interview because no translator on the scene. What's up with that? Come on, Bellator. What are you doing? What are you doing? All right, so let's move on, you guys. 45 minutes in, just getting done with all the fight nonsense from the past weekend. How about that? Flowing, appreciate the interactions. Keep it coming. But now it is time for me to dance. No, for the new, because I can do that now in my new studio. It's time for the new segment of sorts of the week, which it's not new, but I'm just making it its own separate segment is what's happening. So here we are, you guys. The Phantom Punch breakdown. You know what this is if you are a recurring viewer. For those of you that don't, our man Ghost Phantom, they're in the comments. He has a fantastic analytical mind and has been sending fantastic analysis preceding questions for the Twitter mailbag, which we'll get to after this. But I'm going to separate it because they're so goddamn good and they're long enough to where it can be separated that we're going to do that. So, Ghost, I'm going to ask you this on the air, man, if it is okay with you. But I think that going forward, I'm going to take the breakdowns from the full episode. So we're still going to do this all the same, but I'm going to do the editing work, download all that, take the bits that we're going to do right now and upload them separately on the channel because they're so good that I think they should be seen by other people if they're stumbling across looking for, let's say, Whaley analysis or Misha Tate stuff, or as we'll get to this next person. So I would like to do that. Let me know if that is okay with you in the comments or DMs, whatever. But I want to dedicate this to you, sir, because all your support and putting in such thought to this kind of thing. So I hope you like the name too. I was trying to be really clever with it, and I don't remember the other ones I was thinking of, but this is where we ended up, the Phantom Punch. I think it's good enough. So, we'll get into it right now. You guys, Ghost says, I'm honored, very much enjoy doing the analytical breakdowns, and he is down for it. All right, there you go, guys. Look forward to, if you, I mean, I guess you're here watching right now, whatever, so it doesn't matter, but we'll have those separated now. Still going to be live on the show. And then at some point, we'll upload them separately after as their own videos. So let's get into this week's Phantom Punch breakdown. I still have the Porto picture up. Sorry. All right. Here we are. It is Ayaka Hamasaki week. I'm excited for this one. I thought it's a perfect way to do it. Perfect way to debut the official Phantom Punch breakdown. And so happy that Ghost went with one of my all-time favorites, one of the GOATs. Jimmy approves of the show name. Love to hear it. Ayaka Hamasaki week, you guys. Let's get into it here. I'm going to go full screen to make this full effect for people. Let's see if I can do it proper. Here we are, full screen. Should I zoom in a little bit more, or is this okay? Yeah, we'll do 175. Okay. So for the Twitter mailbag, he says, Ayaka Hamasaki is known to be a great grappler, but her striking is very calculated and efficient. Couldn't agree more. All right. So we kick things off here with this clip. He says head and shoulder feint. Watch the clip real quick. Head and shoulder feint right there. Boom, boom. And this should replay. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit. They were going last time. But either way, it says head and shoulder feint. Hamasaki's favorite look from range is the head and shoulder feint. She uses it to set up most of her offense. The head and shoulder feint is a versatile feint, can be used to draw out a parry or slip, but the opponent decides not to react. Hamasaki can just fire off the jab. But if the opponent decides not to react, that is. And we'll continue. Stance switch. Another look Hamasaki likes is the naked stance switch. Her stance switch opens up a world of offensive possibilities, but the consequences of getting hit while shifting is large. Fortunately, none of the last 5 opponents have been able to capitalize on it. So here we'll go back and watch this fully. I don't think I have the sound going through, but that's all right. Either way, the stance switch, as Hamasaki does very nicely there. Then he goes to footwork. Footwork is often defined as a fighter's ability to move in any direction with the equal skill. The following are examples of the different variations Hamasaki uses in her fights. Against Sohei right here in the trilogy fight. Hamasaki maintains her stance even under fire. Ham throws her right hand and ends up square. Hamasaki on impact keeps her stance, which allows her to fire back while Ham is off balance. And then we go to the Miyu fight. She also utilizes efficient footwork to cut down the space of a circling opponent. After Hamasaki throws an inside low kick, she takes a hop step to reset her balance and her stance. As Yamamoto circles away, Hamasaki uses diagonal step and a forward step to cut the ring off. There you go again. Very nice stuff there. And here's a Jin clip from their rematch, Ryzen 16, I believe that was. This clip is an example of a creative way to pressure your opponent. Hamasaki uses a head and shoulder feint from open stance, southpaw, and orthodox. Frey reacts by backing up. Hamasaki then uses this opportunity to switch stance to limit Frey's options in the corner. Footwork can also be used by changing the rhythm of your movement. Hamasaki starts off with a fast bounce, then slows down, then speeds up again. Asakura was not comfortable with this, which is why she kept resetting with an L step. Every time Hamasaki would change the rhythm of her footwork, keeping Asakura off balance. That is an excellent highlight right there, Ghost. I love that you spotted that one out because, watching that in lifetime, I was like, ooh, it's just beautiful to watch her do her thing methodically. So there we are with that little stumble there, but that's all right. And notice how Hamasaki's change in speeds keeps Asakura retreating. Yep, a little in and out there. Slows down, comes back. And Hamasaki also uses footwork by taking micro steps backward to weaken Asakura's position. A position is weakened when you have to adjust to your opponent's range. Hamasaki fires off a jab as Asakura is adjusting to the new distance. Let's watch that one again. 8 seconds there. As you can see, taking some damage. Did Kana in that fight. I had the eye swelling from the jab in particular there in that one. Hamasaki in her last 5 fights has shown some great strikes from range. Oh, there we are. It's Jin again. The dyed blonde from the goat in that one. Fry is trying to use a neutral stance to maneuver away from Hamasaki's rear hand. Hamasaki takes advantage of both location of the ring and Fry's weakened position by using her lead hand to control Fry's elbow, which allows her to line up and fire her rear hand from open stance. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there. In a very technical fight too. This highlights Hamasaki's ability to combine the tactical ideas of the head and shoulder feint and rhythm changes in footwork. Hamasaki uses the head and shoulder feint. Tomo reacts by using a cross counter. Hamasaki leans back just out of range to fire her jab. Hamasaki slows her foot rhythm as Tomo tries to exit. Hamasaki is able to land across because Tomo's weakened position. Another beautiful performance. I mean, they're all great from Hamasaki. Goodness, this just makes me want to see her fight right this second. Can't wait for the Fujino rematch. I don't want either to lose, but oh, you're killing me here, Ghost, in a good way. All right, and then we go back to that incredible Ham trilogy. Hooks off a jab are one of the least utilized combo in MMA in general. It's a great offbeat tool because most are expecting the rear straight off the jab. Because Hamasaki uses the combo, she is already head and shoulders above most atomweights in striking. Man, I wish we could see them fight again as well. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that one after we're done here. This is just too much goodness. More hooks off the jab. Quick one right there. Boom, boom. Oof, right at the temple there. And she also likes to use offbeat jabs to exit wild exchanges. The jab she lands on Ham is offbeat since Ham was adjusting to Hamasaki's to retreat. She really was on point in that fight in the striking, man. Like, you could argue, I think, that she won it, but obviously that second round was a bit of a problem, being stuck in that triangle. But God, what a fight. One of the best ever. And here we are. The jab uppercut combo from the head and shoulder feint is a good variation of Hamasaki's lead hand combos. You see right there. Very nice. Very nice stuff. On the second jab, Hamasaki moves her head across Ham's shoulder line. This allows her to jab with low chances of being countered. Indeed. We go back to the Miu fight. The key to a good inside low kick is timing. Hamasaki hits a beautiful inside low kick as Yamamoto takes a step forward with all her weight on the lead leg. When all your weight is on the leg being kicked, it is impossible to check. Yep. Brilliantly executed into that taped knee that Miu had in that one. And Ham decides to hand fight in close distance, which is peculiar since you normally see it when both fighters are in open stance. However, this lets Hamasaki gauge where Ham's weight is distributed. When she feels the weight fall on Ham's lead leg, she fires off an inside low kick. Gets her off a little bit there. Boom, boom. Back to the Jin rematch. The low kick can also be set up with a jab feint. Hamasaki shows her jab, which Fry responds with a parry. When you parry, all the weight becomes evenly distributed throughout your stance, which Hamasaki takes advantage of with an inside low kick. Just mixes it up, doesn't she? Boom. And here we are at the end of the road. Phenomenal stuff once again, my man. And he asks, I've only seen Hamasaki's last 5 fights, so I don't know what her striking looked like in the earlier days. How much has Hamasaki improved her striking? Did she always use the tools that I talked about? Let's bring me back here now. Boom. Oop, that's weird. That's a very weird layout, isn't it? Let's hold on, you guys. There we go. Phantom glass there. No, I mean, she didn't. The last 5 fights, this last portion of her career has been, I think, the best she's ever looked, and it's not really close. She even has admitted herself. I'm sure you get UFC and Ghost yourself, at least the times I've talked to her recently. She'll even admit that she was mostly a judoka in the earlier days, and that, her striking was better than she'll give herself credit for, but it's nowhere near kind of the level that she's at now. And she's really worked on refining that, obviously, in this later portion of her career. But in the beginning, no, it was mostly grappling out of her. I mean, at least that was what she leaned on a bit more than the striking. Like, we don't even see her generally go to the grappling these days unless she needs to. If you look at that Jin rematch for a perfect example, she got that wonderful trip in the 3rd round and secured the win in that one. But like the Miu fight, Miu took her down, and that's how it ended there. The Kana one, I don't recall her going to that well too much. Kana, of course, took it there, but yeah, it's improved significantly, my man. And it's crazy kind of to see it all broken down like that, considering where it was. But I'd recommend checking out her Invicta fights, at least, if you would like to go back a little bit. And of course, why not revisit that Fujino fight, which I don't think is on YouTube. But if you guys do want to see it, I do have a link. I don't have it saved somewhere, but I know where to find it. So if anyone would like to see that first Fujino fight from 2012, before that rematch comes up here on September 19th at Ryzen 30, hit me up at Drake Riggs _ on Twitter. But that, my friends, was the first official Phantom Punch breakdown. Of course, we've had three or four now. This is about 3 or 4. I don't remember specifically. I know we had Misha, we had Whaley, so I guess this was the 3rd one. Either way, excellent as always, Ghost. And I see all the comments in here, so let's get to those before we move on. Let's see. Let me roll back up. All right. Alvin says, Mr. Phantom had a great breakdown last week. Very excited for this one. Yes, he did, and nailed it once again. And Ghost says, it's always awesome when I read these off. Thank you. I hope that I have a serviceable voice and narration for the analysis. James says, man, so many details. Indeed. He spots it out brilliantly. He does. I might have to do something about the longer clips because I noticed that they don't repeat. I noticed the small ones, obviously, as you guys see, they repeat. I kind of like that, but the bigger ones don't. And maybe we'll have to send this to email and you can use GIFs or something. We'll figure it out, Ghost. You'll message me, but love it. Great stuff. So much detail indeed. Makoto says, Ghost, how are you able to see all this? That's an excellent question. It really looks. Stamina in the house, London in the Futtermucking building. What it do, Scrap Hackers? Good to see you, buddy. How you doing on this fine evening or morning for you, I suppose, right? Good to see you, buddy. Right after that great Hamasaki breakdown, or I guess you probably showed up right in the middle of it. So here we are. Jin says, I love this kind of stuff. Absolutely. Jamie says, I never realized so many intricacies in the fight game. There's a lot that goes down, man. There's a lot that goes on in hand-to-hand combat. That is for sure. Rain says, Hamasaki is the GOAT, and this breakdown just proved it. That is what I like to read. That is staying up on this whole episode. More love for Hamasaki. I'm all about that. So, yeah, it really, I think it helps you realize how fucking sensational she is. And she's not even a striker by trade. She's maybe the most underrated fighter of all time. Maybe not, but she's definitely up there. And gotta freeze again. Love me some Hamasaki. Switching back and forth real quick. The good old. Isn't that crazy how terrible the regular laptop camera is, you guys? It's just so bad. Like you saw that for that quick second there. I'm pretty quick now with it, but my God, not great. Stamina says, oh, we got fight school tonight. Shit, I'm here to learn. There you go, man. There you go. And as you missed, we'll be uploading those breakdowns separately. Now they're still going to be on the show, as you just saw, but going to make separate videos for them as well. So if you miss them or anything, they'll still be on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe to the Scrap and whatnot. Ghost says, James, I just slow down all the fight footage and I base all my breakdowns with my sparring experience. There you go, everybody. In case you were wondering why Ghost is so smart. He just gave away his secrets. Jimmy says, great stuff from Hamasaki. Now I'm more excited to see your fight to see these tiny details. Yeah, man. It kind of makes you, it helps you prepare for, let's see if she sticks to what she's kind of shown us before and how good she is at those things, right? So there you go. James is like, I'm going to watch all of Ayaka's fights after this. I know it makes you want to go back and watch them, right? She is something. I mean, even the other fighters, Misha's fights and Whaley's, which we've looked at previously. So it's, I know it makes you just want to go have a fighter binge watch of their old fights and everything. James says, great job. Indeed. Sterling says, the first rule of fight school, stamina. Yeah. What are you doing? Ghost is incredible, even at her advanced age, to make high level changes in her game. Brilliant. I know. It really is. And on top of it, again, as she mentioned to me when I talked to her Braun Horizon episode 1, which is about a year ago now, but she told me that she's had ACL surgery 3 times. And I didn't clarify with her if that was on the same knee or whatnot, but I think that's even crazier to me that she's practically gone through the Dominic Cruz and is at this level at nearly 40 years old. I mean, it's seriously, she doesn't get enough credit. And I know I'm touting the shit out of her, you guys, and we kind of all are right now, but yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive what she's been able to do. And Ghost says he'd love to see the Fujino fight. Yeah, man. Give me a reminder in the DMs and I will get that your way. It'll be fun to watch. Definitely after this one. Fun to rewatch, I should say. Ghost says Misha's cage control, Whaley's elbows, Hamasaki striking. 3 so far. There we go. Got it down. James says we need more of these. They're coming. Now we got Ghost. He's on the spot now. So I don't want you to feel pressured, Ghost. That was my one worry, is that by highlighting these great breakdowns so much that you would feel a little bit pressured, but I don't want you to. If we skip a week, that's all right. You do so much work that we got to understand if you need a little break every now and then, but love it either way. Obviously, everyone else does too, which is great to see. Sorry about that. Hit the mic stand. But yes, no pressure, buddy. Goto says, this is a cool segment. Rue says, these breakdowns are very informative. Just never noticed the tiny details. Yep. There you go. There you go. All right. That was this week's Phantom Punch breakdown, the first official Phantom Punch, as I mentioned. Hour and 5 minutes into the show. Look at that. Look at that. All this time that we have. All the fun that we've had so far without even getting to the mailbag, because that's not in the mailbag anymore. So here we go. Here we go. Let's dive on in. Small one this week. And I mean, by separating Ghost's breakdowns, this also lightens up the mailbag a lot. So it's kind of doubly productive, right? So here we are. This week's Twitter mailbag. Tweeter. Kicking things off, revisiting a little bit of the past weekend. We got our man, friend of the show, Friendly Sparring Podcast. Check out his show as well if you guys would like. For another show recommendation, at Juicy Jackson, to call him, old Aaron J. He asks, who would you rather be in a parking lot with, Cheyenne Bays or Jin Yu Frey? Very curious to hear what you guys say about this. But for me, I would easily say Jin, just because I am more familiar with Jin in terms of on a personal level. But again, haven't met Cheyenne, haven't talked to her, don't have anything against her necessarily, like some of you guys. But if I was to run into Jin in a parking lot, I'd be like, hey, what's happening? So for me, I will say Jin. And if I saw Cheyenne, I guess I would just be like, I don't like to go out of my way and bother fighters if I'm not familiar with them. Like if I haven't talked to them before, so I probably wouldn't say anything. But just a fun little question there from Juice. That's what you get with the Twitter mailbag. You love to see it. Good to separate, right? Less serious stuff from that. So James says he's got the answer right here. Neither. Doesn't care about seeing either in a parking lot for whatever reason, as alluded to by Mr. Jackson. Stamina says, Bays or Fry, both are married women. Whose husband can I potentially beat up if I need to? That's the thing right there. That's the real question, right? Because both are taken, and one's a fighter, one's a coach. So I guess in theory, Stamina, you'd be more likely to beat up Doug, which is Jin's husband, just because he doesn't actually professionally fight. Maybe he has before, I don't know, but he's not JP, right? Who's in the UFC. Just in theory. Makoto says, not any of them. Wei Li all the way. She was a security guard at a metro station in China. So you'd feel extra safe if she was out there. Mr. Lee says, Buys would of course threaten to follow you home, bitch. It's a comment that we needed for this. Rue says, Bays or Fry in a street fight? Both bad choices. Yeah, I mean, that would be definitely two of the last fighters I would ever want to see in a street fight. Maybe the last, but yeah. Yeah, that's that. So we'll move on because I know you guys don't want to linger on too much Cheyenne Bays. Cheyenne Bays topic discussion, whatever. But yes, I couldn't agree more, Ghost. The comment we needed from Mr. Lee. You win that question, Mr. Lee. All right. So moving on, let's scroll up here to the rest, which I believe only Yusuf is in here. And Yusuf only gave us one today. And actually, no, I saw you, Kevin. I don't know if you're still hanging around in the chat. Welcome, Kevin, aboard to the scrap. We just brought on a whole bunch of new, writers and content providers, what have you, to the website. So Kevin is one of those. And of course, you will remember Kevin from getting called out by Matt Mitrione. Was that 2 weeks ago? Sorry to bring it up, Kevin, but you're in the history books now, buddy. Not Matt Mitrione's favorite fighter, or favorite journalist, or, MMA media person, whatever you want to consider yourself. But yes, welcome aboard. Good to have you. He asks, who is the biggest dark horse from the newbies to win the Ultimate Rider competition, which is a competition we do at the Scrap for new hires and whatnot. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to play favorites, but again, welcome. So that's that. All right, moving on to Yusuf as the other one, as I mentioned. Jimmy asks, do we got shenanigans this week or how to beat Valentina? I don't know. I think I only glance at Yusuf's because of the hilarity, right? To save it for the show. I saw like the top of it, and I don't even remember, but we're going to look at it right now. Stamina says, oh, that Kevin, cell phone of the year there with Mitrione. Yep. Yeah, sure was. Yeah. We all live and learn, man. Rain says, Drake is the scrap goat. Oh, well, I will take it. Appreciate it, man. Just doing my thing, wherever my talent is needed. We're not going to call it talent, though. That was why I put the quotes up there. Anyway, to Yusuf, you guys, you got to believe it. All right. So this is relates to the news. So this is a part of the news. As you guys can see here, Yusuf says, on Tatiana Suarez, guys, we are being robbed of seeing GOAT fighter who could have been a long reigning champion and a fighter who would probably have attempted champ status. In her late 20s, it's just injury after injury. Imagine she improved a lot instead. 115ers are lucky. So you guys, how about that? Not even a question. Not even a question this week. Didn't expect that. I thought there was going to be something there at the end. Technically, this is not a question from Yusuf. So I'm going to call shenanigans on this one. I need to make a graphic or a video or something where we can play it if it's shenanigans from Yusuf or legit. That'll be it. Shenanigans stamp or a legit stamp, something like that. So that'd be fun. That would be fun for Yusuf's weekly questions. But this isn't a question, as I said. So I guess I'll just say if I agree or not. Yes, we are being robbed of seeing a very good fighter, but everyone's potentially a go, right? If we're going to play that game, who could have been a long reigning champion and fighter in her late 20s, injury after injury. Imagine she improved a lot instead. Yeah, we all are, Yusuf. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, it's a bummer, and we'll get to that more momentarily. But Rue says, could have been GOAT. Injuries are part of the game. Yep, that they are. The best get through them. And oh, look who it is. My man, Mr. Alex Bahunin is back in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. And good stuff this weekend and last weekend at UFC Vegas 33 and Vegas 32. By the way, Alex is on the ground representing the fine folk at Cage Side Press. Thanks for tuning in, man. I always appreciate it. We still got to do that podcast together. You said you were going to start one up or do whatever, and you wanted me on. So I'm calling you out here, man, on my show. Get me on your show. So Alex is awesome. You guys, if you don't follow him, which I'm sure you do, he has a shitload of subscribers, much more than I do. Twitter followers. Alex is the man. So good to see you, man. And Stamina says Yusuf's account got hacked clearly. Yeah, I know. He's just very broken up. It might be. And so much so that he's missed the last 2 weeks live. He commented on last week's episode and said that Steve and I didn't even give him an answer for the Valentina and Carla question, which Ghost went in there and showed him what's up. So appreciate you, Ghost. You really are the third leg of this show. As you can see, you have your own segment now for fuck's sake. So Jimmy says, yes, that would be fun for Yusuf's weekly question. I think that's what it'll be. That'll be the most anticipation about it now, because we never know what we're going to get. And we appreciate you, Yusuf, so much, but it's good fun, man. Keep it up. Not telling you to change anything, but good fun. Good fun, I guess. So James says, nope, not bummed. Inactivity due to injury makes you irrelevant. Oof. Hard hitting there, but it is what it is. Stamina says, nah, I take that back. It's still hypothetical, and he loves these like family. Loves those like family. Right. Right, indeed. All right. Alex says, yes, soon. You heard it here first, folks. So look forward to that at some point in the very near future. And I'm sure, Alex, that we will see each other again at an event sometime soon. I'm already booked for 266. As of right now, it's the only one. Thinking about Bellator 260. I don't know what it is. The Rumble Nemkov one. I fucking love that fight. So I really want to be there for that one. It's in Arizona again, the hot desert. But yeah, I got a little bit of a break from shows for the next 2 months, sort of, right? So until then, unfortunately missed Bellator this last week, but hey, out of our control. So that was the Twitter mailbag. Very small this weekend, you guys, but appreciate everybody who always participates in that. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Juicy J. Thank you, Yusuf, the one and only. All right. He already touched on some news, so I think I'll shuffle the deck here as we get into it. I was not going to lead off with that, but it's a great segue because that unfortunately has happened. Tatiana Suarez is injured out of her UFC 266 bout with Roxanne Modafferi. Roxy will have to wait to officially become the number one, or to tie the record for most fights from a female fighter in MMA history. If you count tough fights, which you should count hers, she's already got that record standing alone at 44. No, I mean, beyond that, but 44 is the current record by Satoko Shinashi. And I always forget who she's tied with because it wasn't as good as Shinashi. But yeah, it's a bummer. Tatiana still out, and did not specify what the reason was, but she did take to Instagram the day of after the news broke. And I'll read off her caption, at least, for the video that she posted right after I fix my own camera once again. Wonder why it keeps doing that. See, there's that shitty laptop cam again. But where are we? Lost it. Okay, here we are. Tatiana said, life really hits us hard sometimes. I'd lie and say I have it together, but I don't. It's been tough to say the least. I was really excited to fight again, and I felt so ready and up for the task. I still can't believe this is my reality. It's heartbreaking to say the least. I was in the same position a little over 2 years ago. I had to suck it up and focus on getting healthy. I did it just for that, and here I am in the very same spot. This has to be one of the most challenging times of my life, but as all of you know, my journey has been filled with challenges. Injuries, cancer, more injuries, but my journey has also been filled with many victories. I'm going to focus on those victories to carry me on. I have an amazing support system. My life is filled with people who love me and believe in me, and that is priceless. Thank you for all the love, support. When I come back, I'll be better. Yeah. I truly believe that when I come back, I'll be better than ever. Every sports comeback story out there. I truly believe that. I believe I'm the best in the world. There's not a single doubt in my mind. Only up from here. # head up. So yeah, that honestly, to me, reading it back, that sounds like it is still neck related, just because of the fact that she said the same spot that she was in 2 years ago, which sucks and I guess would make sense, but don't want to speculate, of course, even though I just did. But just wishing Tatiana the best, and hopefully we see her back sooner rather than later. Oof. Just sucks. Not the news you want to get. Jimmy says, why did everyone at ESPN think that Suarez would destroy Whaley? Wrestling, American. You know, man. You know. These are all questions you guys know the answers to. When she was champ, just no respect for new champions. Yeah. It's that dominance, the grappling dominance that you see is just, you don't see very often, I suppose. And when you do, they're like, oh, Habib, look at Habib. He's, he did it, but that's Habib. So yeah, As Stamina says, because ESPN is a fucking clown outfit, they pump out hot takes for clicks. Almost all their mouthpieces for MMA are clueless. Ignore them. Spitting fire there, Stamina, but I'm not, it is what it is. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And Jimmy says he agrees. Yeah. It's hard to ignore since the UFC broadcast. Yep. Either way, wish Tatiana the best once again. Ghost Phantom says her techniques are based on head position, which can be problems for the neck. There you go. So might have to change things up, unfortunately, at least to an extent. And just hopefully she can come back. Hopefully she can be healthy, right? I'm not even going to worry about her coming back at this point. Just be healthy first, right? That's what you want more than anything. So, all right, let me shift here. And as we move on, you guys, Invicta 44, the full lineup was announced this past week. Yeah. So the last event was not Invicta 44 as initially assumed or discussed. This one is titled A New Era. It will be on pay-per-view on Fight TV at, I think, $15 US, $9.99, so 10 in Canada, and I'm sure everywhere else in the world. Got to make those Americans spend more, of course. But yeah, Invicta 44 going down on, what's the date here? August 27th, as what Steve and I talked about for Romero Barella's fight a week or two ago, whenever that was. Yeah, 8/27, 2021. We got 8 fights, 2 title fights. This order, I don't know which one is actually the main event. If you're going by who's higher, it would be Lisa and Tanisha, but Tapology says Dakota versus Danielle Taylor, vacant strawweight title. Both vacant title belt fights, actually. Dakota versus Taylor for the main event, vacant title fight. Taylor, of course, coming back after the XFC, where she fought Jessica Aguilar, to take on Dakota, who has just been so close, but so far away at the same time of capturing a title, whether in Bellator or Invicta. So yeah, the Danielle Taylor fight, I guess it's all right. I'm not super crazy about that one. But Lisa Versosa, the Battle Angel, my fellow hometowner here in the Vancouver, Washington area. She is back. She gets another title fight, taking on Tanisha Tennant, who you will remember from the Daniel Wolf fight, potentially on the Contender Series, and the Phoenix tournament as well. She was in, and she won, right, at bantamweight. So here we are now with bantamweight title on the line, and Versosa still, I think, despite that loss to Stoliarenko, one of the better prospects at 135 pounds, and we'll see if she can capture the gold this time around after, for my money, the bloodiest fight of all time against Stoliarenko. And yes, since then she has beat Raquel Canuto. But as we carry on, we also got Brogan Walker Sanchez back, who is the opponent for MRB, who we mentioned, the other week or whenever. Jody Escobel back in Invicta. Love to see her get a shot, or returning to the roots a little bit and just get an opportunity to continue to be active, all that kind of thing. Taking on Kelly D'Angelo, who is also fun. You got some notable names, right, coming back, some Invicta veterans of sorts, and I mean, so is Barella, who we touched on again last week or whenever. Serena De Jesus is also back as she takes on Lauren Mueller, former UFC flyweight, who was also on Contender Series, right? You guys remind me if not, but her Invicta debut. Caitlin Salmons against Helen Peralta. Fun one right there. Salmons is always fun to watch, and Peralta, pretty nasty. I think she had the bare knuckle fights, a couple. I'm not too into that, but I think she did well over there. And Chelsea Chandler, as you see, is back right there, Carlene Chandler. Whoops, I'm all over the place. Carlene Chandler, not Chelsea Chandler. I was going to say that doesn't make sense for her to be kicking off the card, and she's not 0-0, but yeah, okay. Kayla Yanta versus Carlene Chandler. I didn't see that one till just now. And Katie Saul and Monique Adrian. So not a terrible card, not at all. And I know that they're doing it prelims and main card style, but I'm not sure where that point would be. I guess if there's 8 fights, then it would be right in the middle, right? So, duh. With the first 4 being on YouTube and the other 4 on Fight pay-per-view style. So, yeah, good to see Invicta back. We were it was being a little quiet there for a bit on when this next event was going to come, but of course, things always in the work, as Shannon likes to do. Should be fun. I guess if you were to put one over the other in terms of names, Dakota and Taylor are more names than Versosa and Tennant, but I don't know. That feels weird to me. It's not a weight thing. I don't know. It's just a Daniel Taylor title fight. I think that's what it's getting me. So that's what throws me off. Yeah. Chuck, welcome in, man. He says, Brett Okamoto tweeted earlier, Calderwood versus Grasso, November 20th. Yes, we got it. Breaking news on the scene from Steve, who is dealing with his things. He broke it in here for us, so covered that already. Great one. Big fight for Grasso, and I guess Calderwood if she wants to remain relevant at all, almost. I mean, some people think she beat Lauren Murphy, but either way, should be a good one. Rue says Daniel Taylor was in LFA. What's she doing back in Invicta? Trying to win a title. Jin says, I really don't enjoy Taylor's fighting style. Low volume and just circling all day. Generally true. I thought that the Jessica Aguilar fight, her last fight, unless she had one since then, was very good. I enjoyed that fight a lot. I thought that she lost it. Might be slightly biased, but I thought that was a pretty good fight. And I agree that Taylor fights generally are not very exciting because of exactly what you said right there. Alvin says, why is there so much disrespect towards Mrs. Bays and Mrs. Taylor? At the end of the day, they are fighters that train hard. So unfortunate to see. Bays, Alvin, I think, is more of a personality thing for most people. Think similar to Macy Barber a little bit. Whereas Taylor is primarily fighting style, as Jin pointed out. But as a person, she seems like a nice lady. I've never had anything. Again, I mean, I'm generally not too concerned about those kind of things. But yeah, fighting style for Taylor more so, I think. As James says, boring fighter or boring fight. Daniel Taylor equals boring fight. Mr. Lee, I love Lisa Versosa, involved in one of the greatest bloodbaths of all time. Still had a smile on her face. A psycho, that woman. Yeah, 2 of the gnarliest cuts that you will see. I mean, yeah, that was... Her fights are always bloody, aren't they? But that one was next level, very clearly. Jimmy says, Taylor robbed Sohee Ham. Ham was clearly the better fighter. There were some robberies indeed with that Taylor UFC run. Yeah, it's something about that style. And if you remember that Marina Moroz fight, was that one of the lowest outputs in UFC history, I believe. Yeah, from both of them maybe, but not a great one. But Makoto agrees that he also thought Aguilar beat Taylor. Yeah, that one was unfortunate in terms of that, but it was close. It wasn't. I don't think that was a robbery, but yeah. So that's Invicta 44. You guys, looking forward to it coming up in a couple of weeks here at the end of the month. Hopefully it doesn't shift too much, as things generally can and will with Invicta, but just good to have them back at all. All right, so we move on now to perhaps the surprise of the week. I mean, I didn't see this coming at all. And if you did, I think you're lying. So let's get into it. Holly Holm will be taking on Norma Dumont. in a featherweight bout on October 16th at a UFC Fight Night event. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. Not one bit. And you guys know me. I am on that Norma Dumont hype train. I believe in her. I'm probably the only person really pushing that thing. I'm sure more have hopped on after that Felicia fight, which I said she would win. But this is, I don't like it. I don't like it. This is fast tracking and the most unnecessary form of it due to the fact that featherweight isn't a division. Similar to Danielle Taylor, but not as bad because that shouldn't even be a thing we have to talk about. But Norma Dumont, presumably being kind of forced to stay at featherweight by them offering her this fight, and she's not going to say no. In theory, hope to find out relatively soon. But she's been very open, not just with me, but after her last fight, the Felicia Spencer one, about wanting to work her way through the bantamweight division. And Holly, who's in a bit of no man's land, sort of still. Why? What's the point? What's the point, man? It's a bantamweight fight at featherweight against a non-ranked bantamweight for Holly. Why isn't she fighting GDR again? Why isn't she fighting Misha again? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I mean, it could very well be fun, but it's just dumb to me. I just don't like it. Jimmy says, what the fuck? Yep. Chuck says, home looking for the easiest path to the title. I still feel like this won't even help that. You know, like, I feel like if she was to beat Jermaine or Misha, the argument is better than this. No offense to Norma, again, like I said, but we know where these fighters are on the current totem pole. You know, yeah. Rue says he hates this fight. Dumont should be competing at bantamweight. Yep, agreed. Stamina says he's 100% fine with Dumont at 145. I am too. If it was in a division, and if it was not if she what she wants to do, because clearly she's fine enough to take a fight like this, but there's no division, man. You know. He says I don't see anything positive coming from a fight versus Holm, however. Right, because if she wins, then she's next in line. Which getting title shots is great. You know, more money, all that kind of thing, more exposure. Yeah, it's what you want, right? That's what you want. But in the long run, probably not, because then you're going to take an L, most likely a beating, and it's just going to set you back a little bit. I'm sick of this fake experiment. This fake division. I'm sick of this experiment that has gone on for what? We're getting close to 5 years, aren't we? Getting close to 5 years with no more than 8 fighters in the division, and that's being incredibly generous. Incredibly generous. Please stop, UFC. Please stop. They can all fight at bantamweight. They have all fought at bantamweight, except for Felicia. That's the only one. Megan's gone now. Let him go. Let Felicia go. That's the only one who's not making bantamweight. And I'm sure that if she really, really wanted to, that she might be able to, but not going to bank on that. Just stop. Just stop. Done with it. I know it doesn't matter what I think, but come on. For the sake of things making sense. Oh. Yay. Oh, there it is. There it is. I knew it, you guys. They make it too obvious. I'm referencing that comment there about the Chinese market. They make it too obvious, you guys. I knew it, Henderson, which isn't your real name. So that's the only time we'll give to you right now. Anyway, Chuck says Drake preaching truth. Thank you, sir. It's my God, it's bad. Jimmy says an experiment for 3 years. What is UFC doing? A question that I have asked myself far too often, and I'm trying my best to stop talking about it, but when they keep making things like this, I have to. So that's where we're at. Yeah. All right, let's continue to breeze through these because gotta wrap up, you guys. Fun show, loving it. Appreciate you so much for tuning in. But yeah, let's continue onward to what do we got here? Oh, just a quick one anyway. At bantamweight, Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chiasson has been rebooked for UFC Fight Night, an event on October 2nd. Yep, that's fine. Kind of expected that. It didn't sound too serious from what happened to Macy the other week or whatever, but I'm fine with it. It'll do. Just hopefully doesn't fall out this time. And Mr. Lee says Nico Montano can't make bantamweight either. Too soon. Low blow there. But yeah, so Ladd and Chiasson rebooked. Is what it is. Good stuff. All right. Then we move on to the new news. She's back. Oh, not that one. She's back. Jessie Jess is back, taking on Jocelyn Edwards on the 23rd of October UFC Fight Night event. The Heartbreaker herself, returning from that ACL injury, because I cursed her again, off the greatest performance of her career to this point against, was it Sarah Alpar? Now gets Jocelyn Edwards, who is going to be a pretty tough fight to come back to. Not the toughest one. I think it is about perfect matchmaking, especially for a return like this. But, Jocelyn has managed to was very actively beginning her UFC career with the, the Wu Yanan and then Carol Hosa, which, Carol did her thing against her, but Jocelyn, a very fun fighter. I think this is a very fun stylistic matchup. Good one for Jessie to have in the comeback. Really, really shake the rust off, if there is any, and make her, get comfortable in there again, I guess you could say. Either way, I'm good with it. Great to see her back, as always. Probably won't interview her before the fight so that I don't curse her again, but afterward, you betcha. Assuming things go the right way for her. So, Stamina says, I wanted Edwards back at flyweight ideally, but JRC might still be a bit of a tweener, so it's not the craziest pairing. I'm a watch. Yeah, very true. Very true. Jessie is not the biggest bantamweight, but she's definitely very, very much found a home at bantamweight, I think, and she is definitely never going back down. Just got to work with what you got. And we'll see if Jocelyn ends up doing that at some point. James says, do you think Jessica Rose Clark has improved greatly from her fight with PVZ? I thought Jessie should have beaten her. James, she did beat her. She did win that fight. Yeah, I think she's improved. She's definitely improved since then. I think she was on her way to beating Jessica I until Jessica took her down in that final minute. Panny, that was a fight where Panny's clearly improved a whole bunch, the Panny rematch. So that wasn't the worst loss to have. Bad circumstances for Jessie as well. But that one was in Russia, wasn't it? And yeah, I cursed her there as well. But is what it is. And then since then, obviously, the Alpar performance was incredible. Yes, against Alpar, mind you, but she has definitely gotten better. And this will be a good test coming back, as mentioned. So love Jessie Jess, friend of the show. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. There you go, James. Yeah, he says, I thought he mixed up I and PVC. Yeah, so yeah, you could still argue that Jesse even beat Jessica I. So, but like I said, I thought that last minute is kind of what screwed her there on that one. So, yeah, she was competitive for sure. Very much so. All right. Now here we are. Back to one championship news. As alluded to earlier, One Empower, it's happening. It is happening. It has been rebooked, you guys. September 3rd. I can't wait. I just please happen. Please, MMA gods. You gave us Gaethje and Chandler. Let this happen. Give me Cruz and Aldo while you're at it, but that's another story. So let's pull open the tab. One Empower. Zhang Jingnan versus Michelle Nicolini still on as the headliner. Strawweight, 125-pound strawweight title fight still taking place. Love to see that. In addition, Anissa Mexen takes on Christina Morales. Everything else is the same except for one Grace Cleveland taking the spot for not only the aforementioned Ritu Foget, but now the replacement for Ritu, Julie Mezerbaba. I don't know why that happened, but good for Grace. Good for her. What an opportunity. You get to come in and take on Mangbo, which I expect a very angry Mangbo who has just got the short end of the stick in this whole thing by having to have her opponents switched up on her initially voluntarily. And then I don't know what this reason was for, plus the delay, yada, yada. Mangbo should be very displeased and eager to put a whooping on somebody, all of them, actually. But yeah, so that's what we got now for Mangbo. Grace Cleveland, great opportunity here, obviously, to go on and get a title shot. Itsuke still taking on Elise Anderson. Russell Stamp still get their rematch. Kind of funny that it just says Stamp now. I don't know what's up with that. Denise Zamboanga still taking on Sohee. So mostly everything's the same. We'll see if they add much more to this. What is 6 fights total? Of course, title fight, this one, and then the 4 others. Yep, I can do math. We'll see if potentially Victoria Lee gets on there, as mentioned off the top, but wouldn't hold my breath for that. But yeah, just happy that it's hopefully happening. Happening. Makoto says, Mangbo getting screwed. Absolutely. But she's been training still, you got to think, this whole time, and should have been favored. Is favored over all of these opponents. Should still be fine, but just not how a tournament's supposed to work. Not the kind of hassle that she should have been put through. Very ridiculous. Hoping to catch up with her soon, actually, before this fight. Get her thoughts about all the nonsense. Love me some Mangbo. She's great. But yeah, just ridiculous. And exactly, Makoto says, how are you supposed to prep if you are always changing opponents? Yeah, not too fair. She knows everyone else in the tournament, who all these fighters are. You can study them, except for the person right in front of her. So, and James says, oh, Stamp changed gyms, so she's no longer at Fairtex. All right. Is that a very recent thing, or I was not aware? How recent did that happen? Either way, One Empower keeps on keeping on. Hopefully. So I'm proud of myself, guys. Before we get to this next bit of news, in the new studio, I've been doing the standing the whole time. I wasn't sure how comfortable it would be, but I'm feeling good. Not that I have issues with my body or anything, but it's a new thing, right? We're trying out new things. I'm nice and mobile, which is nice. I like it. I think this is a good move I made. But Chuck says, from what I can tell from Mangbo's fight, she doesn't prep based on opponents. She always fights to her strengths. Very true. Good point. But also, Chuck, you got to think this is a tournament format, though. And I think that for this, she's at least thought about it maybe a little bit more. Hasn't quite. Who knows if she's game plan? Don't know that just yet. Hope to find out, like I said. But that's a very good point to bring up. Throat's getting dry. You talk by yourself for so long, but apologies, everyone. All right, so bad news, more bad news, which happened today, and I know Stamina is gonna be just taking an L with this one, and big bummer indeed. As we move on to back to the UFC news, flyweight Taila Santos is out. Ariane Lipski is in versus Mandy Bohm at the September 4th UFC Fight Night event. Yeah, poor Taila Santos. Didn't realize how many cancellations that she had until someone pointed out today. But in a way, I think Mandy dodged a bullet. I think Mandy has very good potential. And I'm still very surprised that Bellator let her go. But I just could not believe that they threw her to a top 15 opponent like that. Very surprising. Very fast. Lipski, different story. Lipski, easier matchup. Lipski needs a win. This has to be the last chance, which I hate to say that. Again, similar stories. Ghost, if you're still here, similar stories and feelings about Lipski as to Fry, with the pre-background stories, you know. But yeah, this should be a fun fight, more competitive fight, I think. But hope Taila Santos is okay. Don't know what her injury is, but bummer, man. I'm dying to see her get back in there and fight somebody ranked. You know, she should not have been fighting Mandy, who's making her debut. So never like that to begin with. Hopefully when she comes back, she can fight somebody like, I don't know, Roxy needs an opponent, but don't know the extent of her reasoning and all that. So Rue says Lipski gets taken down. Likely. Likely. Very fair. Stamina says, oh yeah, I was minorly bummed about Santos, but I just want them to rebook the Roxy fight and keep it moving. If Roxy doesn't answer MDLR's call, it makes all the sense. Oh yeah. They were supposed to fight, weren't they? It was supposed to be Taila versus Roxy anyway. So I'm tripping. That was my bad. But Mandy wasn't a replacement though, right? They just went and rebooked that for a different time and completely, shifted it. That's right. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, rebook the Roxy fight when you can. Totally. That's the one to make. But Stamina says Taila's out due to visa issues. Well, when was this fight supposed to happen? Like they couldn't figure it out quicker? I don't know. Weird. Ghost says maybe, but the upside for Lipski is she actually tries to build a foundation for her, even if it's a limited degree compared to the elite strikers. Well, I mean, she's a very good striker. Ghost, she is very good. We just unfortunately haven't been able to see it to the same degree as we did in KSW. If you let her play on the feet, then you have the opportunity to see it. So, yeah, no, she's very, very good at striking, but the rest is just not quite there, which is a bummer. All right, continuing to move along. I'm not gonna sing. Having too much fun right now. And another fight that was announced today, mentioned B win earlier because of Ritu Foget. B is back later this month, same day as Invicta. She'll be taking on Lynn Olsen, added to, which the fight has been added to, one Battleground 3 on August 27th, as just stated. So, yeah, look at that. B win, getting back in there. Just what a weird, it just makes me think of how weird the entire situation with the Grand Prix and all that has been, because B wasn't the initial replacement. and she's fighting the week before One Empower. I don't know. I don't know what one's thinking here. Was thinking with that. Like Grace Cleveland ends up making it 2 Americans in the tournament, which you could tell that's probably why they didn't want B in there, was because of, you know, the or Yamaguchi even, Vivi May, because there was already Itsuke and all that kind of thing. But now they got 2 Americans, probably because they were running out of options and just had to get this over with. So I don't know. But either way, B wins back. I am not familiar with Olsum, honestly. We'll have to do my research there, but good for her. Good for her to get a fight booked and hopefully get some momentum going. And Chuck says he did the standing thing for a while. It's not bad. Yeah, it is not too bad. And I do have still a sit down spot right next to me right here if I do want to transition, but we're rolling. We're doing just fine here as we creep on the 2-hour mark. And he says, B fought last Friday. It's a pre-recorded event. Oh, I hate that. But that leads me to believe that she won. So we'll see what happens in a couple weeks, you guys. So stupid. So stupid. James says it was supposed to be Ritu versus Bo. One ruined everything by scheduling Ritu with B. Yep. Undeniable. Just that's what they get, though. That is 100% what they get for booking that fight, is B winning. Just silly, man. Rue says, I don't know much about B. What's her fighting style like? Very active. I'd say that she's predominantly a striker. You know, she was struggling a bit there before that Ritu fight. That was a rebound for her. She's been around for, I feel like, a good bit. I don't know how long she's been fighting now, but B is somebody who, you know, has a pretty crazy story. If you look her up, I'm sure you can find it. Shout out to the man. Tom Taylor did a fantastic story and piece with/on her a while back. I'll just lead you to that, man. Go check that out because that'll give you all you need. But yeah, be a notable enough name in one. So yeah, she is already back apparently, if we're gonna go by Chuck's word, which I will believe, of course, that this was a pre-recorded event, which I am not fond of pre-recorded sports, no matter what it is. All right, last bit of news for the day, you guys, as we get ready for the preview. At strawweight, Emily Whitmire is taking on Corey McKenna on the 18th of September at a UFC Fight Night event. This is all right, I suppose. Whitmire was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, wasn't she? And obviously didn't. I know she was supposed to fight I'm totally blanking. You guys, if you want to throw out the name, it's whatever, but taking on Corey McKenna, who obviously is very green still. And, if you want to go back to robbery talk from last week and Macy Barber and Miranda Maverick, I don't think we give enough, not credit, but we need to point out the McKenna versus Hansen fight a little bit more, because I really did not think McKenna won that fight. Yet here we are. So taking on Emily Whitmire, who, again, another person who needs to win. Was it Whitmire versus Cyphers? That's what it was, right? And then that just completely fell apart, and Hannah Cyphers is nowhere to be found now. I don't know what is going on with her, but yeah, instead, Corey McKenna's in here, and I really don't know what to expect. And, Whitmire's been training a whole bunch with Syndicate, which, of course, not a bad gym at all to train with. Plenty of great people in there. Ramona, JoJo, Roxy, you name it. They've had Kim in there. GE on Kim, that is. So it's a little bit of Whitmire doesn't have a lot of experience, but she has more than McKenna. And, McKenna a little bit, don't want to say a prodigy, but definitely much more of a prospect. So it's fine. You know, they're both back of the strawweight division in different ways, but they are not near the top just yet. Maybe they could. Who knows? McKenna very young, but still got to believe that Whitmire could be fighting for her job. Remains to be seen. Either way, it's fine, I suppose. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but Ghost says this is at strawweight. Whitmire missed weight twice already. Why is she still fighting at 115 pounds? I think it is. You know, I should probably double check that, but yeah, I'll do it. I'll do a quick check. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. That's a very good point. Maybe it's not. This could be my mistake, you guys. Let's see. Am I missing comments here? Jimmy says, how much do you think that Syndicate will help Whitmire's game? I think a lot. You know, if you look at kind of how all the people that they have around each other right now, and, you know, some solid female fighter names, like I mentioned, you know, Ramona there, JoJo, Roxy, of course, infinite wisdom with her experience and all that. And then John Wood is not a bad coach by any means. I think, yeah, it definitely helps a whole bunch because what she used to be at Extreme Couture before. So, yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, Ghost, this is still a strawweight according to Tapology. According to our friends at Tapology, it is. Stamina says McKenna didn't win that fight against Hansen, but Maverick Barber was more egregious. Yeah, agreed. I'm with Ghost, though. I want Whitmire to abandon her pride and the 115-pound division. Yeah. Hopefully she makes it. Right? Rain says Maverick versus Barber was a clear robbery. Yep. No doubt about that. Talked about it plenty last week. No doubt. But I did not think McKenna Hansen was very good. Not at all. So, all right, you guys, that wraps up the news. All good for the week. There was a lot this week, and full show despite one-man show. Appreciate you guys with the interaction as always. And as we continue on here to the very end, it is time. Let me take the news ticker off because, like I said, we're done with the news. You can see the name. Had to get my pointing right there. Yeah, UFC 265 going down this weekend. No goats, unfortunately. No Maulings. No Nunes. No Pena. I know you guys are very excited. We're very excited to see Juliana Pena fight. But, you know, here we are. Things happen. And, hold on, I'm having an issue. Jimmy says, no, it's okay, Jimmy. I got him. I was quick on it. I saw through it right from the beginning. You know, I called it out right when I saw it. This guy's clever. He thinks he's clever anyway. He's insulting our intelligence, though, by continually coming back and thinking that we aren't noticing. Next time, he's going to have to really work on it. All right, too much time talking about that. Too much time. UFC 265 this Saturday night. Houston. Kicking things off with flyweight action. Victoria Leonardo versus Melissa Gatto. Who you guys got? What is going to happen in this fight? Who knows? Only the MMA gods know. Victoria Leonardo, of course, Invicta veteran, Contender Series winner, taking on Melissa Gatto, who has she's yet to debut for the UFC, but she's been in the UFC for a little bit now. Of course, an incredibly impressive Kimura submission over Carol Hossa. Not the best striking in the world, but Victoria Leonardo is very hittable, as she's shown in many a fight, even victory. But she's also been knocked out before, and emphatically, of course, Manafio is going to put it on you. And then Aaron Blanchfield is also quite a stud. So no shame in those last two losses. And then with the wins in between, Chelsea Hackett, Premature, a little too soon for her to be there. Liz Tracy, awesome. That was a very fun fight. Made things competitive. Good win there for Leonardo. But I'm still very surprised that the UFC went ahead and brought in Leonardo after beating a 3-0, or at the time 3-0 Chelsea Hackett, who was still very green herself, obviously. And that was definite hype, but is what it is. Here we are. Melissa Gatto hasn't fought in, was it 2 years ago? Was that almost 3? 2 years, 9 months since that very good Carol Hossa win. And the odds makers are actually favoring Melissa Gatto, which I am too. Despite the layoff. But it's always so hard, especially for a fighter who has yet to debut in the UFC even. But when you look at what they've been able to do in their careers and who they fought, I mean, just that Carol Hossa win alone, I'm sure, is what practically most of the odds makers were looking at, like, oh, damn, that's quite a good one, especially in hindsight. Still just 25 years old is Melissa Gatto. Leonardo, very hittable, as I said. This is just a hard fight to predict how it's going to go. The safe pick is Leonardo because of the activity and, decently well-rounded enough, I think. And then obviously Gatto dropping down to flyweight for this fight. Right? It is at flyweight. Thought so. There's just a whole lot of question marks. I think that if Gatto comes in how we've seen her before, let's say go back to that Carol fight. Just go back to that one only. If she comes in that form, if not a little bit better because of improvements maybe she's made during the time off and not being rusty, she should be able to win this. Maybe not easily unless she gets it to the ground because she's got some pretty good submissions. But if not, then Leonardo should be able to do her thing, and that's pretty much it. But it's hard. It's hard to pick. James says Melissa Gatto just because of Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers. What a good way to choose fights. There you go. That's all you need. Stamina says, I know zilch about Gatto. She's been signed for years and only just debuting after all the USADA noise. And there's also that. I didn't even mention that. And he says, so I have no favorite here. Right. All that drama to be considered as well. Rue says, is Hackett being thrown to the proverbial wolves as we talked about a few weeks ago? I think she was in that fight. I know that she has a fight coming up, right? Or fought recently, something like that, which I don't recall being too bad because she's back on the kind of Australia regional scene or whatever, right? But no, at that time, yeah, that was a little bit of wolf throwing when you look at the experience and everything ruined. Hackett was actually favored in that fight, which is hilarious. The odds makers are just dumb. And exactly what Chuck is saying. Dana was ready to sign Hackett until she got taken down and looked lost. Wow. Makoto asked about USADA noise. Yes, there were some USADA issues. I don't remember exact specifics, actually. I can do a quick search here, or Stamina, you can inform him if you would like. That would actually be better. I would appreciate it, sir, as a carry on here. But as for this fight, and all the question marks around it, I think I will go with the safe pick, even though I think Gatto has the potential to be better, and is in theory better from what we've seen. Leonardo, the activity, the well-roundedness, those are kind of the big things. The less question marks around Victoria Leonardo, that is for sure. So with that in mind, I'm going to go unanimous. I'll go unanimous. It's a tough one, though. It's a very tough one to call. Apologies for all the throat clearing, you guys. 2 hours will do that to you. Killing me. I'm dying. I'm dying. We're almost done. And I left. Oh, I did leave a fight actually off of the preview lineup. So how dare I? But that's the first pick. Let me add this one back right quick. Sorry for cleanup. You know, this is what you get with live broadcasts. You gotta love live television, everybody. All right, moving on though to the fight that I'm not most excited for, but I like it. I like this fight. So at strawweight, we got the return of Karolina Kowalkiewicz as she takes on Jessica Penne at strawweight. Kicking off the second prelims, right? I don't know what you want to call it and what a still that is with the piece right there. Or the quotes initially, but yeah, you know, I want me that Jin Yu Fry fight. And you know what? Jin can fight whoever wins this fight. Even if Penne loses, I still want that one. Let's do that one first. Forget what I said, but I wouldn't be mad at a Carolina fight at some point. Another Invicta veteran. This is a fight that I'm surprised that we actually haven't seen already, all things considered. Another one that kind of has some question marks, at least on the side of Carolina, who, as you can see there, 4 in a row and no shame whatsoever in who those 4 were too. Started off with Jessica Andrade, who knocked her into another galaxy. Then Michelle Waterson in a fight that I actually really don't remember very much at all. Yeah, a little bit. The Grasso fight, of course, just sensational performance from Grasso. The best she's ever looked, I think, far and away. Title caliber performance from Grasso, styled on Carolina. Then Yan Xiaonan, of course, did the same thing. Carolina 35 now, obviously been around the block, 12-6. Still though, we got near even odds here. It is a tough one for people to just decide. But you know, I think that despite not thinking Jessica won her last fight with Loopy, I think that she still looked very good and it was very close and she didn't look rusty whatsoever. Ring rust is just a myth, as her good teammate, good friend and teammate, Dominic Cruz will say, and made famous, right? Had very good moments in there. And if you think about Jessica Penne fights, she always finds an advantageous grappling position. And I mean, maybe not against like Joanna, if you look back at that one, but I feel like even in that one, there was a point where she got all backpack mode, got on her back against the cage because she just sneaks around there somehow. And, you know, we have seen Carolina get submitted before, yes, against Claudia, but with some, you know, got taken down. It's a good takedown and everything. And I don't think Penne is going to do that necessarily, but Jessica's striking has continually sharpened up over the years. And, you know, I think it looked solid in the fight with Loopy. Of course, nothing crazy, but much improved if you look back at Penne's career. And of course, we lost a chunk of it, but she didn't look like someone on the decline against Loopy. Let's put it that way. Whereas Carolina, I think, has been declining, but at the same time has been facing some very stiff competition. So that's what makes this interesting is I don't think that Carolina will look as bad in potential defeat against Penne. But like her turning back the clock at this stage and, you know, going back to those performances against Rose and I mean Randa in her debut, I just don't think we're going to see that. And against somebody like Penne, who is very threatening, again, in terms of her grappling, if she gets in a spot, which I think she will, and she's got the length advantages here. Get her up against the cage, which is a dangerous spot to be if you get in the clinch with Carolina. Not generally fun. Look at the Rose fight. That's pretty much how she won that fight. But then you're giving Penne a chance to grab a hold of something. So I really think that we're not going to see a run from either of these ladies. It would be cool in terms of, again, that story and the careers that they've had already. You know, I highlighted Carolina's age, but obviously, you know, Jessica is older. But who's taken more damage? Definitely recently, it's been Carolina. Undeniably, somehow survived both of those fights with Grasso and Jan. But I just think that Jessica is very tough enough to survive anything Carolina throws at her, as evidenced by the Andrade fight, as evidenced by the Joanna fight. She didn't go down. Jessica Penne did not go down in those fights with those monsters. Whereas we saw Carolina, I mean, went down against Jessica, obviously, but Joanna definitely more competitive than Jessica's fight, which is going to happen. That was just a bad one. But I think at some point, Carolina will get in a bad spot. And I think I'm going to call that Jessica Penne will find a submission in this one, you guys. I just have a feeling about that. And on the feet, I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as it would have been years ago. I think it'll be fairly competitive. Carolina needs the clinch, but then she's gambling. So we'll see. But I'm going to take round 2, Jessica Penne submission. Maybe a little biased. You guys know I love Jessica Penne. She's been incredibly kind to me over the years. Shared some very deep, what do you want to call it? Just shared some deep feelings with me, I guess, and consider about her journey and all that. So if you haven't read the stories that I've done with her, I would highly recommend and appreciate it, because I think that they're some of my finest work, and I'm very critical of myself. So saying that stings a little bit, but I just completely devalued my pick, didn't I? So either way, let's see what you guys are saying now. Rain says, this is a rough one to choose. Penne has had one fight in 4 years, and Carolina has plateaued. There you go. See, very, very hard to disagree with the way they're coming in here, right? So Stamina says, not much keen on this, but KK is at least not at risk of taking serious damage from Penne. Ideal retirement fight, all things considered. Very good point. Very good point, right? I don't think that Jessica is going to... I think she had a little bit more pop in that loopy fight, but... we know Jessica Penne isn't going to knock you out clean with punches. Maybe she can land a kick or something, but that would be surprising. We'll see. And just interestingly enough, I'll say this in a moment. Actually, I'll hold it. It ties into the next fight. Engo says, do you take the experience from better competition for Carolina or Penne's grappling advantage? Yeah, that's a good contrast there. But I mean, Penne, they've both fought very good competition, Ghost, but I guess more of it as of late, clearly Carolina, because of the activity. But yeah, that's a good way to kind of summarize the question and how you take one over the other, or what have you. Jimmy said, someone said this a few weeks ago. It's not that KK has gotten worse, it's that the rest of the division has just improved. Exactly. So if you want to firmly believe that, which I already said that I think it's been a mixture, but I think definitely more what you're saying, Jimmy. I think if you're going to go with just that one, then she should be fine in theory, right? Against somebody like Jessica, who it's still hard to assess, right? We'll see how she looks in this one. Makoto says, is this it for Carolina? Her eye was messed up for Zhao Nan. You would have to think that she's got to be close. It seemed like she was thinking about it after that Zhao Nan loss, which, I mean, she's got nothing left to prove, man. We'll see. Apologies, guys. Alvin says, I felt bad for Kowalkiewicz when she got knocked out by Andrade, but it was a good way for Andrade to capitalize on her raw power. Yeah, that was stellar knockout. One of the finest you will see. Definitely sucked to see somebody like Carolina get knocked out that way. But, you play with fire, man. You play with it. So I got Penne and Leonardo for these first two. You guys see how it turns out. Odds. I'm in favor. I went with the odds on I went against the odds on the Leonardo one just slightly. And then this one isn't even anyway. So is what it is. But all right. So moving on to the last fight, which is a rematch. And what I was going to say was, oh, shit. I just accidentally grabbed the link here, the tab. That was weird. That was like sticky on the computer. I was going to say interesting. I didn't realize until just now that Penne and Angela Hill are competing on the same card. And as you surely know, they're very good friends, training partners as well. I don't know if they've ever fought together. So here we are, the rematch, Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill 2, going down on the main card now after the shakeup that we've gotten from all the injuries and nonsense and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a solid fight to make, fair matchmaking, one that we were supposed to get a while ago, and instead it led to Hill versus Yoder 2, and Tecia didn't fight anybody, right? But if you guys remember that first fight from UFC 180 in Mexico, mostly a wrestling clinic from Tecia. It was kind of a surprise that she went to that well and just really took Angela down every single round when she wanted to. Had not much trouble, pretty clear 30-27. Got the win, and I think sent Angela packing. If she didn't, shortly after Angela went to Invicta. But since then, Angela has turned it around. Tecia has gone on quite a rough skid. Looked like she was maybe going to get... Felt weird to think she could get cut from the UFC, but was a rough skid, and now is definitely back on track. Those last two fights that she's had, she's looked better than ever. The last one, short notice fight against Sam Hughes. Oh, sorry guys, I'm struggling. The short notice fight on Sam Hughes' end, who was filling in. Maybe that was it. Was she filling in for Angela on that one? I don't even remember. Got the TKO doctor stoppage from the eye injury. And then before that, absolutely styled on BVB, which if you guys know, you want to go back to that episode. Don't remember which one it was. Steve and I we've been very high and still are very high on Brianna Van Buren, but man, oh man, did not at all anticipate that fight going that way. She looked reborn. Tecia Torres is the tiny tornado 2.0, and if she continues to look the way she has in these last two fights, carry that momentum over, this is going to be a pretty awesome fight, but one I see Tecia in the driver's seat of for pretty much the whole thing. As good as Angela Hill has shown to be at times, and some people believe she should have won that Waterson fight. I thought Waterson won 49-46, which I know was a controversial one, but they were close rounds. But I still think Waterson edged it. Then before that, the Gadelia decision, also very close. And I know Angela likes to argue that she could be on this, 5-6 fight winning streak or whatever. I know how you guys feel about that. But when you look at those fights, like the Claudia one and the Waterson one, she just allows the opponents to do well enough to have success. So much so that they won, obviously. And against somebody like Torres, who has upped her already great volume and aggression in these last two fights, to perform that way again against Hill, I don't see her struggling or having an issue with that. Her cardio gas tank is limitless. And then she has the wrestling in the back pocket, which she already beat Angela Hill with in the first fight. So I'm sure that'll be in the back of both of their heads. So yeah, I really think that Tecia should be relatively fine in this one for the most part, wherever it goes. But and Angela Hill, again, as somebody who gets taken down a lot, right? We got to look at that. Look at the Yoder rematch in the last fight. Ashley Yoder had some success there, was able to get her down. That was about her most success in the fight. But that's the point, right? Is Angela Hill very susceptible to being taken down against anybody? Doesn't matter how much how credentialed you are as a grappler. So, yep. Originals here. Rain says, I'm taking Tisha here. Tisha has fought all the champs. Weird to think about, right? Weird to think about. Chuck says the Two Straws team on the same card. Right. Yeah, the Two Straws team. I was like, hold on, am I reading that right? The Two Straws team. Yeah. Very interesting. So hopefully I can catch up with Jessica again. I'm not going to catch her obviously this week, and it'll be fun to, pick her brain a little bit about how the whole process has been like for this, because I'm sure this is a new thing, right? They haven't fought on the same card before. Stamina says, War Torres, totally her fight to lose. Yep. Rain says, in Tisha's 4-fight losing streak, she lost to Andrade, Joanna, Weili, and Marina, the top of the division. Literally. So, yeah. Not much shame in any of those. Rue says, I have nothing good to say about Hill, so go Tiny Tornado. There you go. Go says, Hughes did fill in for Angela. Then Angela threw a fit when Torres asked for a top 10. Right. Stamina says, it's okay to tap out early on the show if you're struggling, Drake. He'll go on the record as a retirement instead of a decision victory, though. We're already here, Stamina. We're already here at the end of the road. So I refuse. I'm holding it down here. I think it might be because I got my second shot today, you guys. So it might be kicking in a little bit, making me a little bit sleepier than normal. But it's also been my first 2 hours standing. So hope I've done good. But anyway, Chuck says, Hill always pours it on early and then fades. Yeah, that is a very good thing to note. I know you just kind of think about the history think back at all her fights on Andrade, pretty much the Watterson one, Claudia. Yeah, I mean, all these fights that you kind of think of, especially the losses in particular. So yeah, that's a good observation. Jimmy says, Tisha all the way, just too much experience against the best strawweights. Yep, agreed. Go says, rooting for Tisha, but if Hill wants to win, she has to throw the inside low kick like Marina and Weili. Yeah, which I can see happening. But again, I could see Tisha closing the distance. She's so quick. She's so quick, and shooting in, maybe just mixing it up very well. I think that she'll have Angela guessing a lot. Not to say Angela won't have some good moments. I'm sure she will, but Stamina said, how is Hill Pene's homie and learned nothing from her all these years in regards to ground defense? That's a phenomenal question. That's a very, very good point. Very good point. Whereas I think the converse is true, where Jessica has learned plenty from Angie, or at least you could assume so, right? Because her striking has improved, I think. Mobility, mostly. The man wants to go out on a shield. Yamasaki will allow you to be a warrior. Don't worry. Well, good to know. Chuck says, either Hill decision or weeks of Hill complaining. Why not both? No, I'm just kidding. Joseph Bellotti, good to see you, sir. Thanks for chiming in here at the very end. He says, Hill has faced better fighters than Tisha. She's so boring. Tisha, you're saying? I mean, hey, man, I could understand people feeling like Tisha was boring earlier on her career. I guess, of course, she was a decision machine, and still, for the most part, is. Look at her record. She's only won by decisions except for twice, right? The Hughes fight, and then what was it? What's her name? She's in Invicta now. Juliana Lima. But I mean, Tisha fights are pretty. I've enjoyed Tisha's career a good amount, and especially the last two were exceptional. And Hill facing better competition, better fighters, is up for debate as well. They both obviously fought very good fighters, but as we've kind of highlighted here, Tisha's 4-fight skid was, against literally the best. Stamina disagrees with that. James says Hill lost to Randa. That did happen. Armbar, fantastic performance from Randa. So Joseph says, yes, Tisha, I see the winner face Rodriguez or Dern. Don't know about that. I don't know about, no. You can't do that. I guess it depends. It really depends, because the winner of Rodriguez and Dern is next in line. Don't make any mistake about it, man. After watching a little bit, I watched the first part of Whaley's new documentary, which shout out to Makoto for highlighting that to me, even though I did see it before you mentioned it, but I'm still going to give you a shout out there. Whaley doesn't sound like, from that documentary, it doesn't sound like she's getting the Rose fight next, but there's radio silence on Rose, so who fucking knows, which is very annoying. But what should happen is Carla Rose 2, Whaley Joanna 2. In the meantime, though that gets sorted out, the Rodriguez Dern winner takes on Carla or Rose. Even though I bet you, no, never mind. I got it wrong. I was going to say if if Carla won, then they do a Rose trilogy, but that would be 2 wins. You can't do that. So yeah. Either way, Rodriguez Dern winner 100% should face the winner of Carla and Rose. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Tisha or Angela, they could go up, and that could do Lemos. I think Lemos could be a good one there for the winner of that one. Or Xiaonan. See what happens. So many options as always, but I don't think I made my official pick yet, you guys, but I am taking Tisha Torres unanimous decision in this one. Don't expect to finish on either side. But yeah, I mean, if anyone's gonna, Tisha's looked super violent in the last 2 fights, as mentioned, but I can't see Angela getting TKO'd either. So, Stamina says Tisha is one of the more fairly maligned active female fighters right now. Disrespect in abundance. Well, there you have it. From Stamina himself. Don't get on his bad side. What do we got? Joseph says, do you see the UFC doing Nunes versus Pena and Rose versus Carla on the November 6th card? Same as Usman, Covington, and Gaethje Chandler. Both of those ones. No, because Adesanya Whitaker isn't official yet, right? So I think that could get on there. I really am not. We'll see. Maybe. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised if I mean, I guess Nunes Pena, but I don't want that to be pushed that far. I don't know. Rose Carla, just make that ASAP. I don't expect that though, Joseph. I'd be fine with me, but I've not even considered that until you just said it. So yeah, that's UFC 265, you guys. Boy, oh boy, there we are. Wrap it up. I have Leonardo, Penne, and Torres. Only one finish in there, and it's for one half of the 2 straws. The one that people are less enthusiastic about, I suppose. But either way, UFC 265 should be fun for the most part. Of course, it's taken some hits. The last week took some hits. Goodness. But that's that. That's that, you guys. We could wrap up right at the 2-hour, 30-minute mark. We done did it. One-man show. But it's not a one-man show. It's the us show. It's everybody here, because I can't do it without you guys. It's been plenty of fun hitting that wall for sure right now. So with that in mind, let's send it on home, as we say. Don't forget, you guys, to follow us, like, share, and subscribe at Drake Riggs _, at Steve K _MMA, at The Scrap News. Subscribe, do all that stuff, hit the notification bell. You know what to do. You know what to do if you're here. Get all the get all this stuff ready to go. Hope you had a good time, enjoyed the new setup, which I don't know if I'm going to put anything behind me yet, but I like what we got going on here with the standing and all that. Whole lot to cover. Hope you guys enjoyed the first edition officially of the Ghost Phantom, or the Phantom Punch breakdown. I still got to get used to it, but yeah. As for what I got going on this week, whole lot of interviews lined up for the week. I think I've won every day except for Friday as of right now. Just dropped my chat with Marina Makhnatina today. Makhnatkina, got to get the pronunciation correct there. New PFL lightweight, former Bellator featherweight, fresh off that win against Amanda Bell last month, or in June, I should say. Spoke to her all about the transitioning, coming from transitioning for promotion, Olympics, Kayla Harrison, life training in Russia, all that kind of stuff. Check it out. It's on bjpen.com. It's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Drake Riggs. Great chat. She's fun. Very cool. And yeah, that is all that is out for right now. Also spoke to Josh Barnett. I don't know if I plugged that last week, but Josh Barnett chat is out. Just a pinch of a Josh Barnett chat because he was helping me with my big women's history project. So 85% of that discussion is being saved. So about an hour and 20 minutes talked to Josh for, and took the 12 for putting out right now. But that is also on bjpen.com. Got a whole lot coming soon, you guys. Goodness gracious. What a time to be alive, right? So Jimmy says good stuff. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ghost. Thank you, James. Very good show, he says. I love to hear that. Stamina. See you next time, buddy. Rue says, always look forward to Mondays. That means the world, man. Appreciate it. Can't do without you guys. Joseph, thanks for showing up. I'll take over for Steve here. Makoto, thank you, my man. James, Jimmy, already probably said you guys already. Chuck, Ghost Phantom, of course. Don't even need to mention him now, but I still will. Rue, Rain, Alvin. We had Mr. Lee, Mr. Beckham, Alex, the man, both Alexes, Alex Carvalho and Alex Behunin. I said Mr. Lee, Mr. Beckham. I think that was about everybody today. See, scrolling through, we got the old troll appearance. That guy is persistent, aren't they? Very persistent. As we get one more camera flip before we sign off. I think that's about everybody. It only goes back so far, you guys. But either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed all that good stuff. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane. I'll be back with Steve next Monday. A recap and preview all the good stuff going in the world of MMA surrounding the ladies. Until then, you guys, peace out.